So, I've been on BookTube 5 years. Before I get started, I'd like to say all credit for the inspiration of how I'm taking this video goes to Victoria from What Victoria Read, who is also approaching her 5-year BookTube anniversary. I will link her channel catch up she did a little over a month ago now, I think, which she talks about everything going on in her life. But we are here, we are 5 years deep into my channel. It is finally getting back round to the colder season so I can wear my corpse hoodie and not sweat to death. The corpse hoodie was a key part of my channel about 2 years ago, so it's back out for this video. Basically, what I want to do is just bring you a little update of what's going on in my life, what I'm planning for my channel, what's happening on my channel, and yeah, I have a few questions that you guys gave me to talk through as well. So buckle up, get a cup of tea. Hopefully we won't be here too long, but I just want to celebrate the fact I've been here for so long and have so much to talk to you guys about. I don't even know where to start. I really don't. I guess first of all, it's just worth giving a massive thank you to any of you who've been around for any length of the 5 years. I really appreciate all of your support. It means so much to me. I've been through a lot personally in that 5 years, and having BookTube as an outlet has really helped me. It's definitely kept me going. It's given me a to-do list, like an aim to work for while going through some really weird personal stuff. Do we recap the channel or the life first? Maybe the life. So even in the past year, I've had some crazy changes. When I started my channel, I was in university doing a bachelor's degree or an undergrad degree, wherever we're from in the world, in accounting. So that is way back when baby Chloe was an accounting undergraduate student. I graduated in 2019 and moved into accountancy practice, where I started studying for the ICAEW ACA qualification. God, I promise this will be over soon. I went through some time there. We hit the first lockdown and wasn't a big fan of that place anymore, so I moved into another accountancy practice and stayed for about double the time. And then I wasn't a big fan of it there either. I would love to name and shame, but sadly I can't do that for like actual legal reasons. So now I've moved on and I'm a qualified accountant. My name actually has letters after it because of this. And I am a financial accountant for a retail business. I'm having a great time. I started that back in April, filming this obviously now in September. It has been busy. There are definitely busy times in my life. There are also very quiet times, and I really respect those. It's just such a different mood, a different like work cycle, a different level of respect. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Like, let's not get too excited because it could all change. But this time last year, when I was doing my 4-year Q&A, I don't know if I talked about it, but I was ready to leave my job. Like, I had one conversation left that was gonna make my mind up. It happened, it made my mind up. So I'm now a qualified accountant and I'm living in the best job that I think I can have. Personally, there have been many changes in 5 years. How do I talk about this nicely? In the first couple years of my channel, I was with a guy. Things had fallen apart. And I'd met an amazing friend on the internet, which again I can't talk about because that fell apart too. Interesting. Am I the problem here? I think I'm the problem. So this friendship fell apart, but before it did, I got myself on a plane and I flew over to meet her and her family. On doing so, Cole picked me up from the airport. And I don't want to be that cringy, cliche, love at first sight kind of deal, because that would involve me actually thinking he was interested kind of thing. But let's just say if I ever write a book, it will be about this whole thing. So I met Cole back in September of 2019, and by January 2020, he was in my house. He flew over here to see me. And we have been going strong since then. We're coming up to our 4-year anniversary of like officially dating in January, and yeah, very exciting. What else is there in my personal life to tell you about? I don't think there's anything really. I guess the one thing we're missing from the channel is the lovely Bruce, who's been gone a little while now, but I will always mention Bruce because he was a feature in the channel. RIP Bruce. So what do I want to tell you about being online? Let's move swiftly on. I am chronically online. I did have to take a little bit of a break back in June, and I nearly worked myself up again to that level in August. What I have tried to do is establish way better boundaries, and I feel like I've definitely achieved that now. But June I had to take a little bit of a break. But saying that, I am now positively chronically online. Obviously, YouTube, I'm here, I do 3 videos a week, and I've been doing that for a little while now and have no plans to stop anytime soon. I like putting out this much content. I'm also always active over on Twitter. I will not be calling it X. Definitely active on Instagram. I log all of my books through Goodreads, so you can follow me on there. I think that's it. I think that's my content publicly. I don't know, I'm always everywhere, I'm always talking, I'm always complaining, so do give me a follow if you're not already, and all of my links are always down in the description. In terms of my books is probably a good place. Every year I do a full physical TBR walkthrough. I show you every single book on my physical TBR. Currently, we are sitting at 450 books. I'm not panicking because I've done the maths. And if I read 200 pages every single day and don't haul any new books, I can be done in 2 years. So like, we're not panicking. What I can do is link the most recent video of the physical TBR, but that was back in January, February this year. A lot has changed since then, but clearly I've not really made a dent in the TBR pile, so a lot of it will still exist. And I am planning on doing another one as soon as we cross into the new year. And what do I actually do as content is probably a good one. So we're doing every month wrap-ups, book hauls, TBRs, all of the standards. Reading vlogs, I have been doing weekly reading vlogs for 3 years now. I'm currently filming number 155, so 156 will be the milestone. And yeah, that is happening next week. So 3 full years of weekly vlogging. You can basically see everything that happens in my personal life. I do trips over to Cole, hanging out with BookTube friends. Everything's in the vlogs. The lighting is so dreadful today. That is one thing I haven't worked out in 5 years, is good lighting that doesn't impact the glasses. My other massive content, I guess, is Patreon. I've been doing Patreon for 2 years nearly, and I am just so grateful to everyone over there. I would never, ever, ever expect people to join Patreon, but the fact that there are so many of you guys there is just, it warms my heart. It really does. I did an update to my Patreon, I think it was last December, and nothing's really changed since then. The kind of things that we do are still the same. But I'm over there every single week doing reading sprints, watch-alongs. We've got the Twilight along, read-along, just for patrons. I try and do as much early access as I can. We do monthly buddy reads. There is just a lot of content, and I really love the guys over there. I have been trying to develop my content a little bit this year. I wouldn't say I'm quite successful yet, but the other content that I kind of have on my channel is any of the long distance relationship kind of stuff. Me and Cole have done Q&As before and videos about a relationship. I've also tried to pick up journaling again. I've been journaling the whole time I've been on the internet, but sharing it really tailed off when my life started getting busy. So I've been trying to share as much of my journaling as possible, and I actually have like 3 videos coming up soon. And also I've just started trying to get into the gaming world. I wouldn't quite call it that. I really like scary games, and I like when there's a story behind them. I also love a jump scare. So I have now played the entirety of Layers of Fear, and I've uploaded 2 chapters of playthroughs for that, and all 6 will be out by the end of the year. I am not calling myself a pro gamer by any means, but I think it's such a fun time to watch me be scared. So that is why I'm putting those out on the internet. And future content I would love to do. I'd love to do more long distance based content. I actually have some people lined up happy to talk about their relationships, but life just got too hectic to do it so far. And also with Chloe's Crime Scene Corner, the book club, where we read true crime, non-fiction, and then dark fiction like thrillers and horrors. I would love to do videos about the serial killers themselves and the stories, the cases, the victims. I think that'll be so fun, and I love watching that kind of video. So that is something I would like to bring you in the future. Will I do it? Hopefully. When? I'm not too sure. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in terms of what happens on my channel, who I am, what my life is. So I do have 4 questions here from people that I thought would be fun to incorporate into this video. So the first one is from Lynn, and it was, how has your book taste changed in the last 5 years? And I will quickly refer you to a video from 2 days ago, which is the reading taste tag, where I talk about this in more detail. But I definitely think in the last 5 years, my reading has changed substantially. 5 years ago, my number one reading kind of genre and age would be YA contemporaries. I joined for Contemporary-a-thon, whatever round that was, round 3, and YA contemporary was really where I was at with my reading. Sorry, the road's very busy today, so that's why I keep looking that way. And I would say now, my reading's kind of split. If we had to pick big categories, I would say adult romance and adult thrillers and horror. So like, I'm a thriller, horror, romance. If you can get me a book that has all 3, I am down. I have definitely moved away from YA, and that is not because I don't particularly like it anymore, or I don't think I should be reading it. It's more that I struggle to empathize or sympathize. I always get those confused. I struggle to put myself in the main character's shoes now. When I was starting out in BookTube and starting reading as more of a professional hobby, I was still in university, and then even up to last year I was still going to college and studying for my qualifications. So, you know, the girl goes to school, she's talking to a teacher, she has a class, she has a crush. All of these little things, not so much the crush lately, but trust me, originally, I could kind of put myself in the character's shoes and really care. Now I kind of just have to read a little bit more broadly because I can't put myself in the shoes of a girl in high school. I struggle. I do like to still read them and I still think they're fun, but it's not my number one drive in a book anymore. I'm trying to think of a book I've recently read. The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I have nothing in common with any of those characters, but they're adults. And one of them likes to go home and water her plant. And I can't keep a plant alive, but that is the sort of adult worry that I need. Anyway, that was a complete weird ramble. The way my reading tastes have changed, I've moved away from strict contemporary fiction, normally YA, and I've gone further into much darker stuff, really. I don't know if that's concerning. I'm way more into true crime, I'm way more into horror, I'm way more into scary movies and paranormal investigations and true crime books and podcasts, everything a bit dark. Should I be concerned? I'm not concerned. Okay, so next up, Adrienne helped out with this one, which is, what books did Chloe recommend to everyone 5 years ago versus now? So Chloe 5 years ago recommended The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I still would, it's still good. You Against Me by Jenny Downham. Probably still would recommend that. City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Would still recommend. I actually can't think of many more. I'm trying to picture my shelves how they were 5 years ago, and I can't see what's on them in my brain. Maybe 3's enough. So City of Bones, Fault in Our Stars, and You Against Me by Jenny Downham. That is a very interesting book, actually. I might reread that. What do I recommend to everybody now? It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Or Verity by Colleen Hoover. Probably Verity more than It Ends With Us. I would recommend The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, because I just did the buddy read for the 3 months over that. What else do I recommend to everyone? You know what? I might wimp out and say maybe ACOTAR. I do love ACOTAR. Much more of a fantasy base, much more adult. This is really hard. I didn't prepare for this question. I probably should have done. And actually, one that I probably would have liked if I was younger, but I don't think it was out, is Crave by Tracy Wolfe. When did this come out? I first read it in 2021. And it came out in 2020, so I couldn't have recommended this to you 5 years ago, but it is the sort of thing that Chloe 5 years ago also would have recommended. Actually, on that same vein, one that I would have loved 5 years ago, actually no, I read it in 2019 the first time, so kind of a crossover of about 4 years ago, Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. Love this. I hope that answered your question, Adrienne, because I just ended up rambling. So next up, oh wait, no, I have 5 questions. Oh my God, so not prepared here. Rachel said, if you started BookTube now, what would you do differently? So things like your channel name or your first video. I am happy with my channel name. Chloe Reads Books is so easy to me, and I don't know what else I could make it. I didn't love it at the start. I did actually have a different name for like a week that was based around me working in an office. Like, it was so weird. Anyway, we're forgetting that that happened. It was hard at the start because obviously there are giant creators, and having something like so generic as just my first name is quite difficult. Now Chloe Reads Books has become a little bit of a joke with my family. I've got obviously like all of my merch and everything. Even this sign I've had for the longest time, it says Chloe Reads Books. I don't think I could change my name. I don't think I have any ideas for what a better name could be. It just feels like me now. My first video, you know, I don't think I would change that either. My first video, as I said earlier, was my Contemporary-a-thon vlog. Maybe I wish I'd have done a TBR for Contemporary-a-thon and like tagged the creators and done it all properly, rather than just me talking to a camera and complaining about life. But I mean, that's what I've done since then. I did do the BookTube newbie tag, but I don't think I did it till about early 2019. Like, it was a long time after I started my channel, at least 6 months. And I think that would have been a good idea to do sooner. It's a great way for people to find your channel when they're looking for new channels. So that could have been what I needed at the start. But yeah, I think me taking part in a readathon and doing a vlog for it is very typical Chloe 2023. So I say that was a pretty solid start. So unfortunately, Rachel, I don't think I'd actually change anything. Maybe that's a good answer though. So Faith then asked an interesting one, and it was, what books would you leave in a time capsule for 80-year-old Chloe? And I would like to say my number one answer is Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. 80-year-old Chloe would probably not be scandalised, but probably should be. On that same note, just because I've seen some of the series here, Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, that would be hilarious for 80-year-old Chloe to see. But then I guess just what are these like timeless books that I think, maybe not even timeless, just timeless for me. Maybe City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. That, obviously I won't spoil it because there might still be people in this world who haven't read it, but that reveal in City of Bones that scandalized us all the first time we read it in like the early 2010s, I think I probably read it. I would love to re-experience that as an 80-year-old. Imagine I forgot about it and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, maybe City of Bones. You know, this is going back to what did Chloe like 5 years ago, because I would still recommend those books. So The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. How much did we all love that book? I'm sure 80-year-old Chloe would love it. But let's pick something weird and different. I'm actually struggling. I should have thought more about this beforehand. Oh, I've just thought. Okay, so a book that meant so much to me is A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. It is a book about a girl who is a selective mute and a guy who is deaf. And why do I always get choked up when I talk about this? It's not even that big of a deal. But I didn't talk to anybody really. I would talk to my mom, my dad, like my nans, my granddads, and then my best friends at school, but I wouldn't talk to adults or kids that I didn't really like until I was about 7. And I know that it's different. I know that having a teenager as a selective mute due to like trauma is very different to little Chloe, who was probably just a little bit shy. But reading that book meant so much to me, and it was like kind of making me imagine what life would have been like if I didn't stop doing that as a child, because it was a genuine fear of like everybody that I would never talk to people. Clearly now I can't shut up, so everyone's prayers have been answered. But yeah, that one means a lot to me, so I think it would mean a lot to 80-year-old Chloe too. And then finally we have a question from, I always feel like I'm not distinguishing you enough, so I'm gonna say Melissa, but I know you like it shortened to Mel, but just so we know who we're talking about. Who, I can't remember her exact question, but I wrote down long-term goals. I think it was, where would you see yourself in the next 5 years? And that one's just a hard one for me for personal reasons. It's a hard one to answer. It's a hard one to articulate publicly without getting myself in trouble, upsetting anyone, that kind of thing. I would like a nice big shiny ring on this finger soon, so that would change what was happening with me in the next 5 years, if you catch my drift that way. But I gotta wait for this one to be updated first. Obviously this question was more about YouTube, but I think that kind of changes a lot as well as what I'm doing with my life, where I am in my life. I would clearly still love to be doing BookTube, I really would, and it always feels so begging of me when I've always got a subscriber goal and I've always want to grow, and I'm on about the Patreon, and I hate feeling that like arrogant, I want to be able to do this kind of goal. But I would really love to be even more successful here than I am now. Maybe not within 5 years, but I just really do wish I could have it as more of a, it's so hard to articulate, because YouTube for me is like, reading is my hobby. YouTube is a way of expressing that hobby, and it has become a second source of, well, financial support, really. To be honest, all that financial support goes back into buying books. So it's not quite working, or buying a laptop to edit or a webcam to live stream or things like that. But yeah, I would just love to continue growing and be more successful, which it sounds so arrogant, but yeah, I would love a few more thousand subs. That would be great. In terms of reading, I actually did a little bit of an exercise, I think I mentioned it earlier, where I worked out, let's say if I've got 450 books, let's say on average they're 300 pages long, it's going to take me about 2 years to read this physical TBR if I don't haul any more books, and we know that that's going to happen. So in 5 years, or long term, do I want to have read all my TBR? Probably not. I would like to start prioritizing it from like oldest hauled to newest hauled more often. So I think I am going to keep working towards that goal, and every time I pick a book to go for something older and try and finally get to the things that have been here for years. But I would like to have established an actual personal library. So I haven't got the stat ready for this video. Physically, I own about 750 books, maybe just shy of that. And to declare it a personal library, it has to be 1,000 books. So I would love to have 1,000 books within 5 years. Is that dumb? That's probably really dumb. But can you imagine like a wraparound library with that many books? It would be so good. Like a little desk in the middle for my work. That's the dream. That is the dream. Right, I am going to stop talking now. This has basically been what I call my chatty lives, which is something I didn't realise the patrons loved, but they have now encouraged me to do another one. At the time of filming this, we haven't had ours for this week, but it is happening on Friday, so it would be the day before this video goes live, where I've encouraged the guys as a thank you for all of their support over the last 5 years to ask me any questions with no barriers. I will answer pretty much anything. But in that way, I'm just live streaming and talking exactly how I am now, just filming a video and talking. And for some reason, you guys like me talking. So I would also like to do more chatty lives, to be honest, and just chat to people because I like talking. Who would have guessed that 7-year-old Chloe, who wouldn't talk to somebody, wouldn't even say yes to the register at school, would now be sat on the internet talking to over 3,000 people about what she's read in a book. Especially when blue aliens are involved. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I am going to stop talking because I will be here forever. Thank you. Like, why am I emotional? It's fine. Thank you so much to all of you who have been part of this journey for the last 5 years. I really, really love you all. I've made some fantastic friends. I'm not going to name people by name because we'll be here forever, but you know who you are. Fantastic friends who've... I'm actually emotional, it's fine. Fantastic friends who've got me through like really high stress situations, the weirdest times in my life that have happened in the past 5 years. And I will cross my fingers and hope that they stick with me as my life gets a little bit weird over the next 5 years. But I just really love and respect you guys so much. Thank you for watching this video. If you have anything else to talk to me about that I haven't mentioned, number one, just drop me a message. It could be something that I would love to talk about. It also could be something that I feature in weekly reading vlogs. If someone's asked me a question, it could be a good time to share. So I'm still talking. I really hope you enjoyed, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.